It is Tuesday night. So, welcome to another edition of Landscaping to the Point. We are live. So, welcome in everybody that is watching, wherever you're watching. We have a special guest coming on tonight. JC is going to be coming on here soon, too. So, welcome in everybody. So, we got a great special guest today. It has been a busy week already. The holiday was just yesterday, so we got to go ahead and get as much as we can do in a short week like today. I don't know how everybody's day's been going, but it has been very one of those weeks already, and literally it just started. So I love holiday weeks, but sometimes when a holiday week comes on, you're always in a rush trying to get everything done because you already lost one day if you didn't work yesterday. We did not work yesterday, so it's one of those things where you're like, what do? You always try to get as much done as you can when you can. Not always does it come out right. You know what I'm saying? You're always like, okay, what do we do? What are we gonna be here busy, non-busy? What are we gonna do? It's holiday weeks are always hard and hectic sometimes, I feel, and it's one of those things that you're always trying to rush to get this stuff done, but then in a way you're like, what do I do? Do I try to get everything done as fast as we can? But I feel like you have to take your time sometimes. Welcome in, Phil. How you doing, buddy? And holiday weeks, it's just hectic. Today we had to go get some tires taken care of. So that was our first thing this morning is we had to get 3 tires changed out, 2 truck tires and a trailer tire fixed first thing this morning. So it was one of those things where you're like, you're already behind, and then you have to go get other stuff done. Then talking to a couple other guys that I know in the area. One of them had a battery issue on one of their mowers. Another one had another issue. He had a breakdown. And, when you're running behind, you're kind of like, how am I going to do this? Luckily I worked Sunday for a little bit and kind of got everything done. We got JC coming on here.
What's up, brother? I guess it's just me. All right. I wasn't expecting that. I think Scott's having some technical difficulties on his end. Whatever Josh had with his issues, he gave it to Scott. So I'm sure he's going to come back on real quick. Don't know what he was talking about because I just came on, finished up doing a lawn. I thought I was going to be I thought I was not going to be able to come on the podcast tonight, but lo and behold, I was able to get everything done in time, and now I'm here. What's up, brother?
Always an issue. Always an issue.
Yeah, man. It's okay. It happens, especially when you're live.
Always.
Now there's 2 of you.
Yeah, now we'll make it 1. How about that?
I like that. Let's keep one.
Let's make it 1 today.
Not that I wouldn't want another Scott around, but we only need 1.
Yeah. It's just, I work Sunday a little bit and try to get some stuff done, but you're always at that point where you're trying to get the stuff done and then you have an issue like equipment issues or something like that. Just looking on. Yeah, I'm back, Red Rock. Thank you for joining in, Red Rock.
Red Rock's the man.
Yeah, he is the man. Yeah, so many people are having issues this year. I know I've had a couple of issues on equipment issues, and a lot of other people I know are having the same thing with equipment. And it's one of those things you just deal with it and try to go day by day. Sometimes it's one of those things you can't really, I don't know, you can't predict it. Like me and JC were talking about last week, you can have parts for stuff, but sometimes you just can't have all the right parts for a breakdown, so it's one of those things that you're always in that area where you're always trying to deal with it. And then like you come to a shorter week like this week and you're like trying to get done as just as much as you did the last week. And then you have an issue with a truck or a trailer or a piece of equipment. And you're like, man, do I rush through it? Do I still do it the same way, and give the full quality that you want to do? And I think that's what we try to always do, is try to give the best quality we can. So it's like we're taking our time, still trying to make sure that stuff's getting done the right way. And sometimes, yeah, I mean, you're a little bit slower than what you were because of the last week, but you make it up, as soon as you can. You might have to work a little bit later.
That's kind of pressure on you, because if your customers are used to the quality that you normally give, and God forbid something happens that, you're limited with your equipment, or maybe you're with a mower that doesn't mow quite as well as the one that you normally do, they're going to notice those differences,
Oh yeah, they are. They're going to know when you have a piece of, I tell you what, last week we had, the last 2 weeks we had one of our backup mowers on it, which is something we've used nonstop for the last 10 years. And so literally we had it on the trailer, and between that and the new mower, like, a couple of our customers are like, well, where's the sit down at? What happened to that? And it was like, well, we just missing a part that popped off, and we're going to get it here up in no time. And customers realize that. They notice that all the time. So we have a special guest that's down below. We're going to have him jump on, and we'll give him a talk here. All right. Welcome in, Hunter. Where'd he go?
He was.
Well, hey, how are you, Scott?
How you doing, Hunter? So
I'm
Hunter,
good.
welcome into the show. We were talking about breakdowns on a nice, fun holiday week. And one of the things that happened was I had a tire blowout on one of my mower trailer. So luckily,
Okay.
what did I replace it with? Antego tires. I got to put my tires that you guys are so good at tires. I don't know what to say. But Hunter, tell us a little bit about Antego Tires, man. Welcome into the show.
Yeah. Well, first off, appreciate that. If you need any more tires, we can talk after the show. So let me know. Yeah. That sucks that happened.
It's normal.
Yeah. But yeah, you said what? Tell you about Antego. So yeah, no. Basically, we do lawn and garden, ATV, UTV, trailer. We're getting into skid steer here a little bit. Thinking about maybe trying out some forklift tires as well. But yeah, basically every type of tire except a car tire, to be quite honest with you. Constantly evolving, working on some new technologies I can't really talk about too much, but maybe we'll show at the trade show. Yeah, no, a lot of good things coming our way though.
That's awesome. So when you got what tires came first, the trailer tires or the mower tires, when you guys were deciding tires?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you. So yeah, no, Antego, we started only doing lawn and garden.
Okay.
I haven't been here since the beginning. I've been here since October 2020. Sorry, actually October 2019. But as far as Antego, they've been doing business since about 2017. Started with just lawn and garden, started only doing aftermarket on Amazon. From that, they evolved. We've got some OEMs now, such as Bad Boy Mowers. Shout out Bad Boy, great company. Let's see. And then from there, just kind of, it's just kind of obvious, like the progressions. We went straight to golf after that. And then now we're into trailer. And like I said, doing skid steer, constantly trying to grow our catalog, doing more and more SKUs. I believe what we currently have just in our warehouse, we've got over 2,500 SKUs. So plenty of different and we can make more than that too. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you guys are expanding nonstop, and I think that's what you guys got to do to just get with everybody. I mean, you guys are hitting, lawn, you're hitting golf, you're hitting anybody that has tires, ATVs. I mean, you're hitting a wide range, and there's so many different types of tires that you got to keep up with it, and you got to keep expanding. And I think that's one of the things about being in any type of tire industry is you're just ever evolving, really trying to make sure that you get the best piece of a tire out there, and I think you guys do have some good rubber on those tires and they last pretty long. So, I hate to say it, but I've used your guys' tires in the past couple years, and compared to other tires, man, they last a lot longer. I can run over some nails, and I'm not worried about blowing a tire out compared to some of the other trailer tires, to where they get a little nail and that's it. But I'm slowly getting them replaced, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are always all over the green industry. You're going around and you're like driving, and you never know what you're going to find driving up against the curbs and stuff that we do. So
yeah, no, I was going to say I truly appreciate you saying that about our tires. That's one thing we pride ourselves on is we when Antego started, actually we had a few different tire suppliers. We make our own wheels and we have a partnership with a tire producer, but we only use one producer in particular now because they've just been far and away so much better. And for example, with like our OEMs, we rarely have any quality control issues. It's a nice it's really nice. We don't ever have to do any recalls or really anything. So yeah, thanks for shouting that out. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So you guys are in the United States, correct? Everything's made in the United States, which I think that's amazing.
Assembly. We do get our tires overseas. Yeah. Rubber is really hard to do in the US. So
I mean, that I can understand that. I mean, there's a lot of things that
I don't want to say made in the USA and then someone call out I'll be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that a lot of things are that way too, but I think it's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of times when you buy a tire, especially if you buy it off Amazon or even from a tire place, you don't know where the tires are coming from. You don't know if it's a company in the United States. You don't know if it's a company from China. You don't know, you're just buying them. You're just like, okay, I'll just, you go to a tire place and they're like, yeah, we'll give you how to do a 4, and you're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Just put it on my trailer, man. I got to go, and with you guys, it's like, okay, I'll take Antego, and you take it to the dealer and they're like, where did you find this at? That was one of the first things when I took to my tire shop. They were like, where did you get this from? And I'm like, a company in the United States. Like, I don't know if you haven't heard them, but maybe you need to look into them for trailer tires, man. I'm just telling you, like.
Partly that's us. There's only truly, including our warehouse staff, there's less than 20 of us. So that's not bad. We're just a small company. I mean, we're trying to grow, like you said, rapidly expanding. But yeah, I mean, so that's why we try to partner with people like you, and like get our name out there. It's the best way to do it in the industry, is just partner with like reliable, honest, trustworthy people. And
did you guys
share it that way? Yeah.
You guys start off like a family business, or just kind of
sort of, yeah. So my father actually started the business, and so he actually used to work for OTR Tire and Wheel. He was an engineer there. He got approached by our current part owner when he was working at OTR, and basically said, hey, we're looking at starting an American company. Are you guys interested? And they were our investors. And basically since late 2016 was when that happened. And then Antego started 2017. Basically, Robert, my father, has been the CEO, leading it the whole time. I actually never planned on working at Antego. I worked at Pepsi all through high school and then all through college. And then after college, I worked there for about a year and a half as an operations and sales manager during COVID. Not hating on Pepsi, but honestly, what sent me to Antego is, at the time during COVID, I was working 80 hours a week, got paid for 40.
Wow.
And I kind of got burnt out. And at the time, Antego was starting a warehouse in Utah, and it kind of just got, honestly, like, thank God for this. Like, really got very lucky that I had sales experience at this point and operations, and my dad's company kind of just worked out. And my life's been great. I count my blessing for that every day, because otherwise I'd probably still be working 70, 80 hours a week. And I want to be here talking to you right now, smiling. I'd be working right now, pulling a route truck. So this is so somewhat of a family business. And then too, on top of that, a few of our workers actually, Austin McCollum, our new CFO, he actually went to college and high school with me. We weren't way too close then, but kind of met him and everything. And he's a whiz. He's a genius. And then another one of our guys, our operations manager for our new aftermarket warehouse in Georgia, Corey Gerald's, used to work with me at Pepsi in Alabama, and he's just kind of like a go-getter type guy, always getting after it. So great ops manager, doesn't really quit. So yeah, it's very close-knit community, and it's great.
That's pretty cool. You guys kind of like have some type of ties together, like from growing up and within the family and all that stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then like the people who don't, it's like we're such a small company, we just kind of become a family anyway. Everyone's cool, and it's such a small. I mean, and our headquarters is in Newton, Georgia, pretty small town, so it just works out.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the good things when you have a small company, you get to know everybody that works for you, and you become more of a, like you said, a family, and you kind of know exactly, like, I pride myself with all my employees to get to know them, their families, and it's like you can talk to them and say, hey, what's up, brother, and it's like you kind of are, because you see them all the time, you talk to them all the time, what's going on with their personal life, what's going on, day to day with them, because it's like, hey, this just happened last night. I just watched a show, tell me what, what you thought of it, if you've seen it with me, so I think that's a lot more easier when you have a small company and you kind of get to know everybody and treat them like family, and even get to know them like family. So
yeah, and Robert will probably hate me for saying this, but no, truthfully, we're all hands on deck too. Like our office workers, like Robert, it's not beneath him to be out in the warehouse mounting tires on the rim too. I mean, if we're busy, we're busy. So yeah, which is we have like very much like a go-getter attitude. So I think that's why we have such a small number of staff and workers, but we're able to kind of get a lot done. So yeah, it's a luxury. Just to be honest, yeah, when I was at Pepsi, nothing against it, but you're just stuck in that corporate structure, and you don't have the advantages you have with a small business.
Right. I think that's one of the things that sucks sometimes when you have the huge companies. It's kind of hard to get to know everybody in the company and get to know day in and day out, talking to certain people, because there's so many people at a bigger company. You're like you're saying, sometimes you get busy and you're like, okay, well, where did this guy go? He might be sick today, but I didn't even get to see him, and then you're like, oh, I know, I just met somebody new that's been working for the company for 10 years, and I gotta know him, so yeah. It's a lot different with a bigger company. So
yeah, and things move a lot slower. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, they do. I mean, especially when you got a lot of bigger companies, that they do it's kind of hard to keep everybody on the same position and have them do certain things, especially when it's bigger. Because you're trying to push one person to do one thing, and that person don't come in, then that job's not getting done that day. So, a little bit of smaller company, everybody can kind of jump in and say, hey, we all know how to do this. We all know how to continue to keep production going. So,
and I have, I could relate to certain things too, working for bigger companies in the past. And it's like, you're just another employee, you're disposable. If they wanted to fill your position, they could just hire anybody they want and they can replace you. But like, I could see working for a company where everybody knows each other. You're more than an employee. You're part of a team.
Yeah. And it's like if you're 5 minutes late but have a real reason, it's not like the HR at the end of the day is going to look at the punch card and be like, oh my gosh, right up. It's it's like we're realistic here. Yeah, like sorry you were dropping your kids off. It happens. So
right.
Yeah, it's the same within the green industry too. With like Scott, he has a bunch of employees. He knows them like brothers. It's like same thing like that. When somebody has a family issue or something's going on, you help each other out.
Yeah. I think that's what you have to do sometimes. When you own a smaller company, is even when I had 15 employees, it was one of those things. I knew everything about my guys and knew exactly what was going on. And one of them was sick. It was like we all knew something was going on. If he was sick, like it was like, okay, the next day you're like, hey, you all right? You better today? Like, do you need to take a little bit more time to do something? You can do that. It's not a big deal. So I think once you start to get way huge, that's where it comes into issue.
Yeah.
So all the tires you guys put them straight on rims and everything over in Georgia?
Yeah. So Georgia, we've got 2 locations right now. We have an OEM warehouse that's strictly doing our OEM companies, and then we've got a full aftermarket warehouse now that's just doing strictly aftermarket. Looking at possibly putting a wheel factory in Arkansas soon. I think we were talking about that. There's just a lot of moving parts going on with that. But yeah, trying to get more and more locations in the U.S. and just keep expanding upon that. After the podcast, I can talk to you about something. I can't say it on air, but I can tell you some other stuff that's in the works. Wish I could talk about it right now, but can't.
It's always hush hush sometimes. I know how it is.
Yeah, it'll be a nice surprise when it happens.
I was looking at your website, man. You sell more than just tires. You have like 60 something pages of available product in inventory. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I'm happy you mentioned that actually, because that leads me to something else to talk about. Yeah, so currently we sell mostly third party. If it's not a tire or wheel, mostly it's a third party product right now. So we partnered with a few other companies for like lawnmower blades, spark plugs, small motor parts, covers, really anything lawn and garden or trailer, automotive you could think of. So I'm plugging my laptop in real quick, just got unplugged. There we go. And then, but one thing with that, I can talk to you about, we are planning on bringing Antego branded lawnmower blades. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's one thing that some of our partners have really been pushing for us to do. And we're going to try to maybe look at doing kits online, so we can do like an all-inclusive kit. So say you just enter your lawnmower, like what make and model it is, and then you can find your spark plug you need, your blade, your seat, your anything, like your deck, any type of replacement you need. And so that's what we're really trying to move towards as far as aftermarket, where we can just be kind of a one-stop shop and offer everything. And we're going to try to do it in-house, but for now we're partnering with other people. And and we won't stop our partnerships with third parties. We want to offer, a selection, but yeah.
Wow.
I think that's a good thing to expand on that way, because especially with the green industry, and it's always getting bigger and bigger, and there's more and more companies out there. Even there's a lot of companies online, but not all the time can you find the right part at sometimes when you need it. And I think that's one of the things when I go to my dealer, like they don't have a lot of tires in stock. So it's like, if you can find somebody that has the tires, the blades, the spark plugs, the air filters, a lot of people are going to go straight to that company and say, hey, I can buy all this at one time. And, especially in the springtime, like, hey, I'll get the tires, I'll get my blades, I'll get the air filter, I'll get it all at one time for one person. So pretty cool.
And that's what we're hoping to do. And then honestly, the biggest part with that is if we can, save the customer shipping costs, because we offer free shipping. So if we can bundle all that in one box, 2 boxes, get it to the customer, should be very economical solution for everybody, which is big in this industry. Sometimes the replacements, for a flat free are almost as much as like a truck tire. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So on a daily basis, how many tires would you say that you guys send out or produce?
That's so variable, but I'll tell you, I know this because I made the slide deck literally today. We've got capability to do 11 million rims and wheels a year. Now that's with our factory. So we also do make wheels for other companies, like private label, et cetera. Now, as far as us, I'll tell you this, like, I'm a lot more versed with aftermarket than OEM with Antego. But our aftermarket on Amazon, we're doing upwards of, 10, 15 million a year, to be quite honest with you, on Amazon. And so we're putting out some volume. That's why we've got over 100,000 square foot of warehouse space. Okay. I believe we fill up about a 18-wheeler of boxes every day. So that's about 800 plus boxes of tires a day. So and each box has got at least 2 sets. That's 1,600 tires or so a day going out, assemblies. It adds up real quick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does. That's a lot. That's a lot of tires, and people don't realize that, especially us in the green industry, we go through tires like crazy. It's not like, a normal car tire that you're going to, get, 5-6 years out of it. Us, you might get a year out of a tire, if that, and you'll have to get it changed out.
Scott, that's a good thing too, because like a lot of us don't know, like, if we even have the right tires on our mowers. And sometimes that could maybe possibly contribute to the fact that we're wearing a lot of tires quicker. So I'm going to put Hunter on the spot. Like, what can you tell us about like different tire treads when it comes to like mowers and stuff?
I will tell you about the treads, but that is a great point, what you just said about like not knowing different mowers and everything. So I'll make this a two-headed question, but when I first started at Antego, I noticed we were kind of doing things the wrong way, where because we're experts in our industry, we kind of assumed everybody is, and just because we're dealing with it every day, so it's secondhand knowledge to us at this point. And we weren't really good at listing our products online. We would put the exact mower spec or something, but like people don't know like to find that online. They look at the side of their tire and they see like 2010-8, 16-650 or whatever, and then they just try to match up a turf. So we've gotten a lot better at that. And then as far as the treads, sorry, what exactly was your question?
So it was like we might have the wrong tires, and that's why it's contributing to the fact that our tires are being worn out more. But how important is like different tread patterns?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, tread pattern. Honestly, it's when it comes to, as long as the type of tire is the same. So there are differences with tires like rubber compounds. So like your trailer tire is going to be probably different than your typical lawnmower tire versus your ATV tire versus golf cart. Different tolerances and speeds and like which is different temperatures, but tread pattern is honestly probably the second most important part behind that, other than like even more than ply rating, in my opinion. I mean, because if you get the wrong tread pattern, you can have bad grip, you can be tearing up your turf, I feel like I'm overqualified for this answer and I'm going to over explain it, but I mean that the tread pattern behind the actual rubber compound material, tread pattern is easily number 2. I mean, that is huge. And so for example, I mean, yeah, we'll just use this. So for example, the typical turf tire tread pattern, like the Chevron, that's like the OG old school. And then the new one for Antego, it's the ATW03. I don't know what other companies call it, but it's more of the, like the Z shaped pattern. Okay. That's technically it's a little bit better of a grip compared to it's not going to hurt your mower if you swap it out, but technically that's the new and improved tread pattern that everyone uses for turf. It just does a little bit better of a job ejecting everything that gets stuck in the tread pattern versus the typical Chevron. Not that the Chevron's bad, but yeah, just stuff like that. I mean, so yeah, tread is a huge part of the tire.
Yeah, and it's a little different for mowers because I mean we're cutting, we have blades, so like if we have a tire that's deflated more so on one end than the other, we're having uneven cuts. Like you said, if we're using a different type of tire, we may be ripping up the turf on certain lawns and stuff like that. And there's warm season grasses and cool season grasses, so like there's a big difference for some of the guys that we know that work in Florida and some of us that work in the Northeast, and Scott being in the Midwest.
I mean, speaking of Florida, yeah, I mean, because some of the we've dealt with that. So one thing that's like we've seen in Florida is a lot of the grass down there just has a lot of sand in it, obviously. And with that, one thing we've learned is really tread only does so much. But what we tell people sometimes, if there's a lot of sand in the grass, obviously just like put less air in your tire. Kind of the same idea as a Jeep or truck, but no, like what you said is huge. Like different terrains also. Different geographies that can affect your tread pattern major. Another thing too is you don't want to go full aggressive turf if you're also going to be, say you're on like a lawn truck and you've got a house there, and instead of putting your mower back on the trailer and driving to the next house, you drive down the road. If you're a really aggressive turf tread, you probably don't want to drive on the road, because I'll be honest with you, turf treads are not rated for asphalt and they will disintegrate. So if you're super heavy on that, don't wonder why your tread's melting away really quickly if you're taking it on the road. So
good point.
Good point.
It's just the heat. It's just not good for that. Yeah.
Right. So if it's like 100 degrees, I probably should just stay in the yard as much as possible then.
Yeah. Because it's just because that rubber compound. It's just if you start driving too and the tire gets even hotter, you're probably going to see a trail behind you on the road.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not saying with the tip, like not saying with like an Antego tire, because honestly, like you said, we do a little bit better there. But I mean, it will still wear down quicker on that. But if it's one of those cheap tires, yeah, you'll see like the straight up markings on the road, and yeah, it'll wear down really quickly.
So how can, if I'm running a mower, let's say I've had this mower for like 2 years, when should I replace the mower tire?
Well, that's another thing. So commercial versus residential, that's different. Right. Also. So commercial, if you're running it 2 years, and well, let me ask you this. I mean, how how often do you replace your commercial tire? I mean, just not an Antego one, just typically, because I'm curious on that, and then I'll give you an answer.
Usually I wait till I got like, where I'm starting to bald out.
Yeah.
But I mean, depending on the year and how much we're doing, I would say probably about 2-3 years I've changed out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what I would go with. That I would say 2 years, because people online, you'll see horror stories like tires can expire. That's true, but it's really not true. Like, to be honest, tires are coated with so many chemicals and like spray and everything nowadays. Not that they're bad for you, but they're just it keeps them. It's basically like a lubricant for the tire. It keeps the air out, keeps it healthy. You don't need to worry about that. The biggest thing maybe you need to worry about is if you're so for you being commercial, constantly running your tires 2 years, it's probably honestly easier for them than if it was someone residential and they're leaving in their garage sitting there, and that can cause dry rotting issues and everything. That's honestly more of what we see, where it's just like people will be like, "Hey, I barely used my mower," but it's like, "Yeah, I hadn't had air in my tires for 8 months, and it's been sitting there, and it's also been outside in northern Michigan all winter." And yeah, so there's factors there. So yeah, usually every 2 years, but then honestly, like I don't blame you. Look at the economy right now, especially running commercial. If you don't have a hilly yard, I would run that thing bare too, to be honest with you. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I've had a couple bad tires to where, I mean, I've ran them for a long time to where, I've kept plugging them just because this tread was still good. And it was like, okay, I'm going to just keep plugging it. I mean, I hate to say it, but I did have one that had like 5 plugs in it before I actually replaced it. And I was like, man, I don't know why I took that long to replace it, but, at least I got a good amount of tire out of it, but yeah, I feel like,
I shouldn't say that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I shouldn't say this, but I live in Utah and like I off road a lot and stuff. And I had a Jeep, and dude, I had like 5 plugs in its tire. I was taking it from highway speed to off road, and I never had any issues. I shouldn't say that, but like, I mean, if you do a good plug job, you're fine. You just gotta check it out and be observant. So,
yeah. You can tell when you got a good plug on it and when you don't, and it's like when you don't, you're just like, yeah, well, I guess I got to replace it now, But if you got a good plug on it and the hole's just right, you're like, okay, I can let this go for a while before I change that out.
See, this is how I know you guys are a good company, because you have someone in the tire business telling you, hey, it's okay to use plugs and not trying to sell you another tire. That's awesome.
I mean, just being honest, I mean, I did it myself. Like, if the tread's good and if your plug's good and your patch is good, I mean, I'm not going to tell you that for obviously. Okay, I'll be honest. A trailer tire, I'd be a little more nervous, with the weight in the back. But if you've got like a 4-wheel drive all-terrain vehicle or a lawnmower, just plug the thing and you're fine. Like, I mean,
ladies and gentlemen,
especially if it's a good quality tire. But that's where it matters. If you have a bad quality tire, there's no point in plugging it because it's just going to disintegrate in probably another 2 months anyway. But yeah.
So, what is on a trailer tire? What is the best ply, pretty much, on a trailer tire for you guys?
Well, I mean, that depends on the trailer because we've got 480s. You can run those as down as like a 6-ply or a 6-ply rating. So I'll tell you this. So one thing Antego does is most of our trailer tires are done in PR instead of true ply. The strength is the exact same, just the way the ribbon is, like the bead is put around the tire. It's just different. Instead of having basically 6 actual beads, it's basically like an intertwined stronger one. It's the same strength. So most of ours are in ply rating. So 480, you can go 6 to 8, 570, 6 to 8 is fine. And then I will say like 205, 225, 215, anything like that in your bigger trailer tires. You'll hear guys online, talking about like 12 ply or whatever, and some people 10 ply. I'll be honest, I'm not saying those are not worth it. But for the price, an 8-ply would probably do you just as good, because realistically, your trailer, if you're doing the lawn care business, realistically, your trailer's probably a little overloaded anyway. You're probably abusing it anyway. You're probably hitting curbs anyway. So at that point, if I was in the industry, I would probably just rather replace an 8-ply quicker than have like maybe an extra month with like a more expensive tire. Just the ply really isn't. I mean, the rubber compound's the same. It's just, so it's not going to be a huge difference.
Okay.
But I mean, if you can get a 12-ply though for the price of an 8-ply or something, by all means. I mean, it's just really, it comes into like bang for your buck. And like I said, in this economy, I'd probably go with the 8-ply personally. Just so.
Yeah, but it comes down to like what I said earlier is you don't know if that tire is made perfectly or not, even though it might be, it might be cheaper. You might be finding something cheaper on Amazon, but where do you know where that company is? Do you know what kind of brand that is? There's so many factors about that, and you could read reviews and stuff, but not always the reviews are going to tell you the exact from, somebody else that is actually using a tire, like Antego, like me using Antego and a bunch of other guys using Antego. They can tell you the exact, how it holds up, how long it's rated, for, compared to somebody else that's just like, yeah, I bought this tire. It's a 12-ply. I got it, $100 cheaper than the 8-ply from Antego, but man, they blew out like 10 minutes ago. But, at least I got a bigger tire, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100% true. Obviously there's good brands other than Antego, but like that's a key point right there. Is honestly, I think the brand's probably more important than the ply is what it comes down to. And then just to give you an example of that, I can't say a name or anything, but during COVID, we were looking for new tire suppliers, and one company we had sent us some samples from overseas, and they were very high rated ply tires and everything. And we did our analysis. They actually used clay in the tire compound partly, which is a terrible idea because it's not safe, obviously, but they were using it as like a filler almost. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of what you run into if you were to go with a brand you can't really trust or something, to be quite honest with you. And that's where, like at Antego, we only have our one tire supplier. We trust them. You clearly trust them too. Yeah. And yeah, so that's a key point right there, definitely.
Okay. Wow. It's amazing. I think you guys are just amazing by just, starting out with tires and just continuously adding things to your arsenal of being able to sell stuff for the green industry. And I think that's one of the things that any company that starts out even small wants to become bigger and be able to expand. And I think you guys are definitely expanding. And I mean, you could expand like real fast, but sometimes it's easier to take it little by little instead of just taking everything at once and saying, okay, we're going this way.
We kind of learned that the hard way, to be honest with you. Yeah, controlled growth is sometimes better than just going a little crazy. So
yeah, definitely. So I got an off the wall question for you, Hunter. This is probably something that people are going to want to know, but it's not about tires. So here we go. So you off-road a lot. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So where have you gotten stuck before and you had to really dig in and dig out?
It's sad. I've actually never got stuck on like a crazy hard trail, like go to Moab or like anywhere. Never, don't get stuck. And then recently though, me and my girlfriend, we were skiing at Brighton Ski Resort. I think it was like February, and there was no spots in the parking lot, but like we weren't going to turn around, and I was like in my Jeep, whatever. So I pulled up into a snowbank, and it wasn't supposed to snow that day, so I was like, I'll be fine. Right. The problem is that day we got there really early in the morning, and it actually warmed up, so the snow turned to liquid, and then it froze, and then it turned to ice, and then it wound up snowing about. I think it was like 3.5 feet. It was crazy, all within like 4 hours.
Wow.
And I went to my Jeep, and thankfully I had a cooler of beer in the back of the Jeep because I had to hand them out to a bunch of people in the parking lot, and they had to help push me because between the ice and the snow, that was really annoying, to be honest with you. But yeah, I had a lot of people help me and gave some bear hugs in the parking lot and gave out some beers. It was a great time. But I will say one time I did get stuck actually in the Uintas. I didn't get stuck, but I left my car running for a little bit while I was camping to stay warm, and my battery died, and I had to hike. So Uintas are it's like a mountain range in Utah, but there's 600 lakes within maybe like a 200-mile square area, mountainous, 8,000 to 10,000 feet terrain, bears, everything. Mountain lions, anyway, I'm out trout fishing with my buddy Brock, and he got really cold in the night. He's from Florida, and he didn't want a tent. I brought a tent. He was like, "I'll just sleep in a hammock." I told him, I was like, "That's not going to work even in August. It's, you're at 9,000 feet elevation, buddy."
Right.
And so he slept in the Jeep and left it running all night, but didn't have the car running, the gas. He just had the battery running, and we had to hike, about 6.5 miles to get phone service, and someone had to come up and get us a battery. Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
good little adventure having to hike 6.5 miles with no water at that point either. Yeah, it was a great time.
Bears all over the place. You got this buddy from Florida, like, yeah, there's bears out here, so you better just start walking faster.
Dude was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, laying in a hammock, and I'm like, it's gonna drop to 30 tonight. So,
jeez.
Yeah. Jeez. He learned his lesson.
Yeah, he did. He probably did. He probably was like, yeah, I'll make sure to bring pants and a jacket next time. Or
Dude, that was the last time he decided to go hiking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. I told him before he came out here, I was like, the altitude will really get you. He's in better shape than me, but I was like, you really need to start running or jogging because it's going to whoop your butt.
Right.
He literally half a mile into our first hike, he looked at me and was like, dude, I got to sit down. So it really is different out here with the altitude and everything. Because I'm from Georgia too. So like Southern boy. Yeah, moved out here and yeah, it's completely different.
Oh, I bet. I mean, compared to Georgia, I mean, it's a different. Every day is probably different compared to Georgia. So,
yeah, I call my family back home. I'm always like, "What's going on? Nothing's new." Out here it's constantly changing. So, I mean, I live in Salt Lake though, but yeah, it's changing like crazy. So
you guys are expanding warehouses and everything, and you're planning on opening up another place. So, do you guys sell overseas or do you sell just in the United States?
Yeah, I've got a couple customers in the Caribbean. So we got Virgin Islands, Jamaica, Mexico. We've got customers in Vietnam, Cambodia. Not a current customer. Used to have one in South Africa. Yeah, so we can ship anywhere. To be quite honest, we've got a customer in Canada. I mean, a few actually. We're going to start selling on Canada Amazon here soon, actually, also as well. Working out the finishing touches on that, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. But yeah, so constantly expanding the international market as well.
That's awesome. I think that's a good thing to be able to expand nonstop. So is the Canada Amazon, is it Cananaza? Is that what it is?
No, Canada, it's Amazon.ca, but I might recommend that to him or something.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's just say that next time. Be like, you got to change the total name in Canada, okay? Just change it, and we'll just make it easier for everybody up there. Add a couple more A's in it, and it'll be all right. Amazon, there you go, or something like make it harder so it's easier for the Canadians up there.
Instead of Alexa, to have Alexa.
Yeah. Hey, Alexa, can you put this?
That's a good dad joke right there.
Yeah. So, what is your best-selling tire right now? I know
by quantity. Yeah, I mean, aftermarket by quantity. To be honest, right now it's actually a golf cart tire. It'd be our 18850 matte black Antego Tire and Wheel. It's a turf tread. It's our ATW03 turf tread. It's more the Z pattern I was telling you about, and then it's got a matte black, almost a hammered look, but it's a matte black rim, and they're really sleek. And that's our actual number one tire right now, tire and wheel assembly. But as far as lawn and garden, I believe right now it's our 1566. So we've got two of them really. One's made specifically for Husqvarna, but it can also cover Craftsman and a lot of other mower brands. And then we have one specifically made for John Deere. And instead of the traditional 1566 tire and wheel assembly you would get from Husqvarna, John Deere, Cub Cadet, etc., we did some improvements to it. So it's got a precision bearing, no grease required. And then it's just like honestly, it's a little bit of a better rubber compound than the typical one you would get from just probably most other spots. And that's one thing we do at Antego, to be quite honest with you too. So we might not always be the cheapest. We do try to always have like consumer friendly pricing. But one thing we also do is we try to do upgrades. We would also want on our own mower tires. So for example, my my uncle, we grew up kind of another way. This is kind of a family business, actually. My uncle, he has a business in Rome, Georgia, Three Rivers Nursery and Landscaping. And so kind of just that might be how the idea honestly started initially without even realizing it. And so we heard from him growing up about all his complaints and everything. And we can just ask him too for, market research whenever we need. Yeah.
Nice. So what all OEM companies do you deal with? You had said John Deere.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we don't do OEM for John Deere. We make their replacement parts, but
Right.
I can tell you about some other OEMs after this meeting, but I can tell you some base ones right now. So right now, for example, our biggest one is Bad Boy. And so the reason you might think we do John Deere too is, for example, our factory makes a lot of the wheels and tires for them, but it technically is not Antego branded. But I'll tell you more about that. But yeah. So yeah. But as far as like Antego branded tire and wheel assemblies, Bad Boy, American Landmaster, we've got some Cub Cadet. Shoot, I'm trying not to forget people, but I don't want to also like just name a bunch and then not name certain people either. I'm trying to think of like other people's accounts.
I don't want to go back to like, what, you got tires? So
no,
but yeah.
No. I mean, like, I don't want to name like a bunch and then forget some people and they listen and then I'm like, whoa, why do you list 10 but forget us? So I'll just tell you three. So yeah, Stinger, Cub Cadet, we do some greens groomer. We did before. We've got like a few parts from now. Our biggest far and away Bad Boy motors. Yeah. And then like I said, I can tell you about some more.
Yeah. All right. So I think I saw this at Equip last year. Are you guys doing twills?
Yes and no. So yes, we are. We're working on. So the way the current tweel Michelin patent is lawn and garden. Like I said, it probably won't work. But what we are working on is we're working on a trailer tweel, and we won't call it a tweel, but it's basically the same type of technology, a little bit different. But we're going to mostly aim it for golf carts and then trailers. What we're dealing with right now is DOT recently changed a lot of stuff up with trailer tire testing. So honestly, that's the biggest hurdle right now. It's just and all that stuff also, since COVID is still delayed. So like government that's okay. So that's another reason we're also not selling currently in Canada on Amazon right now. Truth be told, I've been working with them, the Canadian government, for like 11 months now, trying to be able to sell in Canada without having a business location in Canada. So you got like it's called like an NRI number. So bureaucracy is honestly slowing a lot of stuff down right now. But yeah, no. So what the goal will be is we'll have like a golf cart and a trailer tweel. We're gonna have a program where when it starts to wear thin, you just tell us before it wears thin fully. We'll go ahead and send you the new tweel replacement. And then you'll send us the one that you were running back in the box that you got. And then it's kind of like a rebate program, kind of like when your iPhone gets old and you need a new one, just send it in. And yeah, same type of deal. And then there should be no downtime also with the way we're having this system set up. So,
okay. How do you know when a tweel is bad?
Same way as a tire. I mean, well, I guess there's a few more ways. So same way as a tire when it runs thin. But I guess there's a few more ways. If you were to have issues where, the glue connects to not the rim, but that inner piece, that's obviously an issue if you see any sagging there. It shouldn't happen, but obviously if you have any breakage of like, like the I don't know what they're called, to be quite honest with you, but the spindles, the little hexagon patterns, I don't know what you would call them, to be quite honest with you. Obviously if any of those break, probably replace it. I wouldn't want to be on a hill with one of those broken. That kind of sounds scary, especially if you're sideways. And I mean, let me ask you this too, actually, Scott. I mean, do you run a tweel yourself by chance?
No, I don't. But okay. I mean, I feel like it's interesting. The tires are interesting, and I know they're more expensive than regular tires.
Yeah.
And it always makes me wonder. I know it's, you're paying for it to be a run flat tire pretty much, but I can't see, when you're running a regular tire, like I'm running a regular tire for 2 to 3 years, why would I want to switch to wheels? And am I going to get the same amount, or am I going to get the same, am I going to pay more for just to be able to run over a nail and not have to worry about plugging it?
Yeah, so I'll be honest. I think as JC said, like tread pattern, like he was mentioning tread pattern, the twill's kind of the same thing. There's a specific niche for it. It's not for everything. Like if you're running lawns that don't have a ton of pricklies or nails or whatever, I don't really know why you'd want it. I mean, another thing I've heard with the twill is I've never ran one myself, so this is anecdotal, but I've heard a lot of people say it kind of has a little bit of slippage if you're on the side of a hill, which I could understand because the way the tire like kind of compresses.
Right.
Which makes sense. But obviously, like if you were to run, mostly in like a flat, plainy field or something, the twill, so like that type of tire also has more, like it's got a thicker rubber compound too, so it shouldn't also burn up as quickly. And then I think the way it also spreads out, like with the surface area and everything, it's also going to help you out. Okay. So there are advantages. So like for example, our trailer twill that will be coming out with, it's kind of made. I mean, I used to run a little bit of landscaping in high school and like with like helping out, like, and then like I said, my uncle has his business or whatever. And one of the biggest issues with trailer tires we ran into is just people hitting the curb. Mm-hmm. And that's honestly one thing I think a twill type tire for a trailer would be good at. Because obviously, if you got all your lawn equipment in the back, you're probably not going to be going 90 down the interstate anyway. Maybe you will, honestly. I mean, I might, but I wanted to advise it.
Right. I mean, I haven't. I've gone 80. I've never gone 90 down there with it. But I mean, it was a haul to get back that day. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not like most guys are so route dense that literally, you're not going to be going probably more than 60 mile an hour sometimes, with a trailer, especially if you're loaded down. So, but I think that definitely hitting curbs is constant because you're trying to be as close as you can to the curb because you don't want somebody to drive by and then clip your trailer or whatever. So, 90% of the time we're right up on that trailer, right on that curb. And yeah, I mean, I've seen tires pop out quicker that way. You run over nails quicker. There's just so much junk sometimes right in that area. So
let me ask you about the nails. So I've got like a part pressure washing business. And one thing I run into is when I have a commercial job site I have to go to, pallets break in the road. There's always nails laying around. So I think that's another thing the twill could be, good at is that type of tires. Anything with near commercial or like a construction site or, like say you're mowing and there's like a neighborhood with a bunch of new housing being made. I think that's another advantage for it, definitely. Because you can't avoid those nails. You hit them all the time. That's the reason my Jeep had like 4 or 5 holes in it that one time, just going to the warehouse every day. Yeah. You just come across them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've had luckily, I hate to say this, but luckily we haven't this year. 3 of our customers have had brand new roofs put on. And luckily the other day we were going through the one and we already mowed it. And I just happened to look down when I was walking around weed whipping and found like 5 more nails. And I'm like, this company went around with a nail picker upper and picked up nails. And I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I'm lucky I didn't run them over because you would have been buying me a new tire to the customer. And the customer's like, they said they picked them up, everyone they could find. And I'm like, no, if I could just walk around and find them, somebody wasn't doing their job over in this corner. That's all I gotta say, So yeah, it's one of those things. I think wheels would work out good on, like you said, up on trailer tires. Definitely, I think that would definitely help out, especially if especially through a lot of these neighborhoods because there's a lot of always new construction going on, and anything falls out of trucks anymore. So.
Yeah, or honestly, even like gravel driveways, just because that rubber material is a little thicker, it might not, hurt. Because trailer treads are made for highway; they're not really made for gravel. So stuff like that, anything rural, I think, could be a huge advantage. But like I said, fill a niche. If you're mowing in like Metro Atlanta and you're bouncing constantly on the interstate, don't get them. But if you're in Ohio or like South Georgia, do it. So there's reasons.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well. JC, you got anything else to ask?
No, I'm going to start looking at your website a lot more because there's a lot of cool stuff on there.
Yeah. He's got a lot of good stuff. And I think anybody that's listening or watching, definitely go ahead and check out Antego Tires. just to let you know, I got a code too. So if you want to looking to save some money, use Acme Tires, and you can save some money. So thank you guys for Hunter. Thank you for being on. Thank you for telling everybody about everything about Antego. I think there's a lot there, and they're ever expanding, guys. So definitely, you might start out right now getting tires from them, and a year from now you'll be getting their brand new mower blades that they're going to be putting out, and
I like it.
next thing you know, you're going to be buying the Landscapes by Acme tire from them, and you never know what you're going to get from them. So definitely go check out Antego Tires, guys. And